greeting you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. I am here as the channel of Moonas Magicka, here to bring unity consciousness, divine love, and free energy technology onto this earth plane. This is episode 16 of the Moonas Magicka podcast, and I'm truly honored to have my brother TruthSeekah and his wife Arien on the podcast with me today. Um, this brother has honestly been a huge inspiration to my life, and I as well make conscious hip hop music, and I'm truly inspired by this man. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to have you both on, knowing that you are both beings of light and are also doing your best to live and walk the way of Christ and the I am presence, which I too am doing my best as well. And I invited Master Yogananda in with us. I just intentionally put him behind here with us, and yeah, just a little intro and welcome.
Thanks for having us, man. It means a lot. Thanks for vibing to the music and all of the times you use the music in the reels and
Totally.
taking it with your own creative expression as well. I mean, I love every time I see it, and I get tagged in it. I share it on my Instagram. I love seeing your art and in your expression and what you're bringing to the table, and then the kind of collaboration we're doing with the energy and the free energy that you're bringing. So that's I love seeing people be inspired by the music and kind of taking it and making it their own and seeing what they create with it as well, dude. So thank you so much for having us, and I love what you're doing. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, blessings, blessings. My first question, I wanted to invite you both into this immediately because I recognize that we share the same presence, and I too am in a relationship and I'm engaged to my beloved Jade, and I realize that we actually recently in the past couple days have been going through something that has been just questioning our union and our like choosing each other every day and knowing we're both sovereign beings, knowing that we're making a conscious choice to be in a relationship. And I just wanted to ask about what do you both and welcoming you both to share, like, what does it mean to be in a divine union? Like in the spiritual community, we throw these words around like sacred union, divine union. Yet, what does that truly mean at its root? And like, what does that entail in the sense of all like spirituality and being surrendered? What does that mean to you both?
Yeah, for sure, man. We've been together since I was 14, and so we're high school sweethearts and
Wow.
freshman year of high school. Um, so we're celebrating 25 years of marriage this year. So we've been together a while, and we've been together more than we haven't.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it means a lot. It means so much. And words don't really do it justice, and we're still discovering what it means, to be honest with you.
Mm,
Um, I know with the idea of marriage, right? The scriptures kind of define it as like two people coming together and becoming something new. So the two become one flesh. So essentially, like you don't exist anymore, like Derek doesn't exist anymore, and Aaron doesn't, but we come together and create this new entity, which is Derek and Aaron together, right? And we create and we the parts of us that need each other, right? The yin and the yang come together to create the whole, and it's something new and it's something beautiful, and it's obviously the way the creator like made it to be that we complement each other's flaws. Um, the, I know the pieces fit, and they do, and we're still learning like what that means. And 25 years of marriage, of to be honest with you, even recently, of like the parts of me that tried to be a man and hold on to things that I'm going through and not want to vocalize it or let her carry it, to protect her even because maybe I think it may hurt her, destroy her. She can't handle it. So we try to be men and carry all this emotional baggage and weights and worries of the world where the creator has made us to come together for me to let her carry this heavy stuff because she can,
Mm,
and allow her to absorb it and allow her spiritual and physical body to absorb it and to cleanse it and to give it back to mama. Give the cares and the worries back to mama. So to be honest with you, that is something that we're both kind of just stepping more into recently with the revelation of the divine feminine and how this sacred union works together. We're still learning that. We're still babies in that. But it's just this amazing discovery that never stops.
Yeah,
wow.
I think it's a beautiful balance. And when I say this, don't think that I mean you can't live a fulfilled life as a single person either, because I'm not saying that at all. But when the creation happened and the Elohim made mankind, uh, once the feminine was created, she was pulled out of that being. So it's like that being was separated.
Hmm.
So the beautiful thing about being in a divine relationship is like I kind of bring the things to the table that he might be missing and vice versa. He brings to the table the things that I might be missing, and just working together and co-creating together is it's just it's beauty. It's amazing. And like he said, our relationship even in the past 2 years has unfolded to a whole nother dynamic. I mean, it's conscious choices that you make every day, and sometimes we slip into patterns of grief or depression or despair, or like he said, wanting to conceal, and it's not out of a bad place necessarily, because sometimes we want to conceal and hold on to things because we don't want our partner to deal with them. But the way we're designed, you always know when the other person's hiding
Yeah.
something or trying to, man up or
Mm,
woman up about it.
And
And
it
it's
it comes
just,
out in other ways too.
yeah,
Like you find other ways to cope. If you don't cope with like life and the cares of the world and just all of the stuff, the way that the creator has, designed ways for us to cope, and we have so many like mechanisms of grounding and breathing and sweating. There's so many ways to deal with it. You start dealing with it in different ways when you're trying to conceal because maybe you're embarrassed or whatever, and we maybe start drinking or getting involved in drugs or different illicit behaviors and things like that. um and obviously that's not healthy. They kind of they tax the body, they tax the soul even. So rediscovering this marriage and this holy matrimony, what it means, has just been an amazing ride, and I'm so grateful for it.
mm,
We want to make that popular again, man.
totally.
There's a lot of there's a lot of free love and
Mm,
multiple partners and a lot of different things. Sex is holy, man.
mm,
Like marriage is sacred, and I think we need to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Who we're doing that with, and who are even touch is sacred, man. Touch, just touching people drain and take from you, and those things. So we knowing all that, it like amplifies when we come together to do that. When we're like protective of our energy, that nobody gets to steal or who gets energy or who gets attention, right? All of that is sacred, man. So yeah, what do you think?
wow. I mean, yeah, I totally feel that. Um, yeah, I was thinking the culture that like this quote unquote Western world, just to use that as the framework, but it's so sick, right? Like I grew up in a sick society, and for me, I actually was in addiction when I was younger to cocaine, alcohol, and
Hmm.
heroin, and I touched, I touched those demons, and it was a few years of basically like hospital, like near death, and waking up in the hospital the next day, like broken ribs, smashed skull, and like this was the extent of the addiction. And that that led me to, in the context of your question, was it led me to the awakening that one day I woke up and I called my dad and I finally like surrendered and I asked for help. And this was years after my family was trying to get me, like they were the ones forcing me into rehab and said, Stephen, you need help. And obviously my stubbornness, and I know I learned from experience, and I had to go there to, ask God for help. And that led me to realize that when my third eye opened, my single eye opened, and I realized that I am the awareness of my thoughts, right? Like that's when everything flipped. And then I started to get downloads every day that like I grew up in a sick place. And no wonder I became who I became, because I didn't have any guides, right? Like my dad, like I got physically abused by my dad for smoking weed when I was younger. Like he took me to the woods and beat the shit out of me. When I was the rebel in high school, and now weed is like a common thing. And I was always that guy going against the grain because I realized like I'm a man of freedom and I wanted to be free, but I didn't know how to express that properly. It was distorted, and I didn't have the true teachings with me, the teachings of Christ, the teachings of the masters, that I didn't actually realize until I started to study those after I woke up. But that, to answer the question, is that I think that I grew up in a sick society, and the culture was like it. I was addicted to sex as well, right? And pornography and all of these things that I realized shaped me. And now that I'm in a true union, like all of these wounds are coming up, and even like just closing my heart down to her still. And that's actually what I realized I did in the past couple of days, was I was closing down and I wasn't willing to cry, or
Mm.
like I feel like that spiritual ego of mine can like actually shut me off from like that real love that wants to be shared. And she was trying to get us to meet up, and I said no. And we did connect last night, and we're back, like in flow. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree in the union. And I feel that, yeah, we this in the culture now, we can just keep the next one, and the misery of the mind will just be like, next, there's someone better for me, or
Yeah.
all of those all of those deceptions that rise to us. And we see these thoughts, and it's like, no, like I am fulfilled myself. And it's like obviously finding that union, that yoga within self, and then realizing, as you said, the merging, and coming into where Arien and Derek disappear into the I am. And one thing to theoretically get these teachings, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty where things happen and tension builds in the relationship, right? Like, how do
Hmm.
you respond then?
Yeah.
And just to share, and then I'll pass it back. But what I realized is that these teachings that I'm into, like I've been studying Neville Goddard a lot recently.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Okay, dope. Yeah, like the assumption, right? The law of assumption, and assuming that like I am that. And that's what Neville's teaching, right? He's like, it's you gotta feel it, like the feeling is the secret, and then it will express in your
Yeah.
world, because there is no outer world, it's all
Yep.
inside of us. But in relation to then when things come up in my relationship, where I'm like, sometimes I'll negate Jade's feelings and be like, that's not real. Like what's real is only positivity, right? Like this kind of, because I genuinely feel like to live in a positive state is the way, and to invoke positive thoughts, to invoke gratitude. And that is the true way. But when things happen, sometimes I think that spiritual ego could get in the way.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to be thankful for them too, because it's those things that show you those sides of you that you're still vulnerable. Like you wouldn't know unless you get tested. Like you're not able to see that shadow unless the light is shown upon that aspect of your being.
Mhm.
Like you don't know that you're still jealous. You don't know that you still don't handle confrontation well unless you're in confrontation. You don't know that you don't handle, people not agreeing with you until your spouse disagrees with you and she's been going with the flow the whole time, but now she has an opinion. Like it's these little things that show you the sides where you still need work. And we're here, we are the workmanship of Christ. Like he's working on us and he's working through us, you know what I'm saying? And he is the potter, we are the clay, and we're steadily being molded into that image of perfection. But and many of these things we know and we preach about or we teach, but then when it comes down to embodying them, it's like that's why I've been finding myself of like taking pop quizzes, things that I'm teaching on, but then I'm going through it, as I'm teaching on it, and it's like, man, you need to, embody your own teachings. But it's about being, you know, in the moment and being thankful of it all, and even being thankful for the flaws and what they come to teach you. Because we're students in this thing, and these things are making us better.
Mm.
So I'm grateful for them because we still have so many. You know what I'm saying? We're still learning, and we hope that in that learning process and in that hammering process or sanctification process, that it's making us better and not making us bitter. 'Cause
Mm.
we're gonna go through heartache. We're gonna go through trials and tribulations, and the scripture tells you straight up, those who live godly in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution. That persecution comes from within you. It comes from you within your own demons, within, not handling your past or beating yourself up. You know, can't nobody do me like I can do me, because I know that the enemies done told me all these flaws, it points them all out. So us being able to navigate those flaws and deal with them, and in the midst of that still be okay and not beat ourselves up is a miracle, man. It's an awe and a wonder.
And it's awesome that as you go along the healing path and you start learning more about your emotions and about your sensual nature, like your five senses, where used to, if somebody said something abrasive to you and you would get angry and lash out at them, now when I feel the emotion of anger or I feel like I need to defend myself, I am able to stop and say, "Oh, that was weird. Like, why did I feel the need to defend myself in this situation? Why did I go on defense?" And then you can kind of, pick it apart and see what the root of it is. Where used to I would lash out and I tend to bleed on people who didn't cut me. So it's cool to see the progress too as you go along the healing path and you learn that your senses are showing you something deeper than just what's on the surface.
I love that. Thank you both for reflecting. Yeah, and that, like, bringing it back to humility, before I hopped on, I wanted to just make sure I was sitting in the silence for at least a half hour before we were together here. And I texted Jade something that, like, it's just pure humility because I just really want to apologize, for for when I do close my heart down. And we went to see my favorite artist. His name's Dallas Green. He a group City in Color. He's a Toronto singer and he was in this punk band Alexis on Fire. And I literally, the moment I got to the concert, I started crying because like, because I've been told that, like, I'm a very positive man, and I've actually been called a narcissist for being so positive at times. And people have said, "Steven, you don't have any feelings. You're spiritual bypassing." And I don't feel that that's true. I feel like, because then you're saying, like, all these teachers, then would you go to Christ and say, Christ is teaching spiritual bypassing, or Neville Goddard's teaching spiritual bypassing? Like, it's not, it's not true. I feel my feelings when I feel them. But, somebody else might be more emotional than I am. That doesn't mean I'm not an emotional man. And I knew, like, going seeing Dallas yesterday, like, I started crying, and I just softened in myself and was like, I know that I'm innocent in my heart. I know I'm pure in my heart. And yeah, and then I messaged Jade and was just like, all of this is just genuine apology and humility. And as long as these tensions and trials and tribulations that come up in our relationship, as long as we return back to forgiveness and humility, then that's what is the way forward, right? And
Yeah.
there's only one way forward, and that is forgiveness and moving
Yeah.
moving on. And just to lastly share on this topic for me, and then maybe we can tap into something else, but the avoidance aspect of when something comes up, like there's a part of me that just wants to run, like get out of here. This isn't spiritual. Just
Yeah.
get out of here, right? And but I'm being asked to show up in my relationship in a different way. So how can I hold that as well as knowing that this is also spiritual? Like it's not just because it's a problem or a conflict coming up doesn't mean that, it's not,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote a bunch of questions here. I think we'll move on to the music aspect. Like you both have been making music with each other, correct?
Yeah, that's a new aspect too.
Yeah.
Yeah, within the last 2 years now or
Yeah.
How's
year.
that?
Yeah. It's we're still learning. I'm still learning and because it's a different process and um yeah, so we're proud of the stuff that we've put out already. I think we've produced like 3 songs, I think it is.
Yeah.
3 songs. And I did background vocals on the first one, which is we kind of both did it, but I'm kind of faded in the background. We did covers. We did 2 covers. Gathering the Flowers. It's a amazing medicine song cover we did, and she did Circle of Women. That was a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful song. She covered that one, and then we wrote our first original, which is Light a Candle. And that one came out super dope. That one's really fun and very emotional and meaningful. And so our first one that we did together, we're super proud of. And so we're still like brainstorming and trying to work on some more stuff right now too.
Yeah.
What's the process like? And maybe comparing it to your solo works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. The process. We're still trying to learn the process
Mm,
because I'm trying to get more into songwriting because in the past I really relied on different producers and beat makers to provide the beats. So really I can just focus on the lyrics and just write my lyrics and recording. But now just the way the music industry works and the way streaming works and stuff, you really want to own all of your all of your stuff. You want to own all your music and it's the best way to go. So the process takes a lot longer now. So now instead of just showing up and writing lyrics, now we gotta, write the music and stuff like that and then produce it and the EQ of the music. So now it's I think the process is a lot longer doing that. And so she gets a lot of melodies and stuff that come to her that I don't know the keys for and things like that because I'm not like as trained of like she can sing it. Oh, that's in G. Let me,
mm,
throw these chords together or something. I usually write the opposite. Like I would just get a beat and then hear the chords and find out what key it's in and then write to that. But the way like a lot of her creativity comes with her melodies, she gets the melodies first. So that process is a little bit longer for us to work with too. But we're just still experimenting with it and having fun and also getting frustrated and all that good stuff. So the process has definitely changed a lot.
It was cool
Oh,
when we wrote Light a Candle because we were just playing, like playing around, and the words just kind of came naturally, authentically, and it was just a nice it felt easy, like an easy flow. But then sometimes when you sit down to try to create something, it's not that easy. Um, like you said, with the keys and everything, because I know nothing about music. I play a little bit, very little bit of ukulele, and my songs are more like children's songs, like very simple melodies, and so it's it's a neat contrast too between the complexity of his lyrics and his rhyming patterns and things, and then I'm basically singing children's songs.
which is needed. You know what I'm saying? Like something catchy, like the children's songs are catchy. You know,
Mm.
they stick with you. So, we're still working on that dynamic of putting those two, the simple and complicated together. So that's the that's where we're at right now with the music.
Is there an intention behind you both co-creating music together? Because I know for you, Truth, that's probably like you've written you like I'm like I've listened to all your albums, and as I said, I can literally recite word by word. White Magic specifically is my favorite album. But
Nice.
when you like, is there an intention? Like your music is very spiritual.
Hmm.
Like, so to use that word, like, do you guys go into the studio just like total openness to what's gonna come through? Is that the
Yeah.
way that you've been doing it, or is there like conversation before that's like, oh, we could write a song about this? Because yeah,
Yeah, we're
I would
still
say you
still
have the top-notch lyrics in like spiritual hip hop for me.
yeah, still experimenting with that. I mean, the best way to for me to come up with lyrics is just through inspiration, not trying to write a song.
Mm,
Just to be inspired in the moment. Usually driving, driving or when I was at work, back in the day, the being in a place where your subconscious is free to roam and you're really in your mind. So you're doing something with your physical body that's like on autopilot, like it's working or cutting grass or something, driving. So your mind is just coming up with these, it's this open antenna. And so that coming to you that way, listening to other people's music, it kind of inspires you, or just starting with a piece of something. So if I can start with something through inspiration that way, it totally works way better versus like sitting in the studio and it's time to write a song and we're gonna write a song. Like you could still create that way and we still do, but like being out in nature and just doing life and being inspired in the moment is the best way, and that's where all the best stuff has come from with me. Um, Even if I just get just a little bit out of inspiration of something coming to me, then I could take it back to the lab and kind of build upon it. But I've already like got some type of groundwork, whether it's a cool, unique rhyming scheme or fitting these words together that means something to me. Like just while like I'm jogging, remember jogging and having some lyrics come to me. One of my favorite songs that doesn't get a lot of attention. It's um Oracle's what I don't even know the name of it at this point. Or Origins and Oracles.
okay.
Um um yeah, meditating, finding bliss, emerald tablet, sacred text, deciphering the counterfeits. In the temple, time is spent, keeping of the sacrament, conquering the elements, lower level banishments. And that little, and then the lyrics that were coming to me, I was jogging. I was like, I gotta run, and I didn't have a phone on me or anything. I was like, I gotta run faster so I can get home and write this stuff down before I forget it, And so it's like just in them places of, like I said, jogging or something where these things are coming to you. And I'm like, I gotta write this down because first of all, I gotta write it down, but then I gotta record it too. Like even if it's on the computer or a voice memo on the phone, because you'll forget the cadence. Like you can write something down and then return back to the lyrics and you're like, how does this fit? Like it doesn't fit the beat anymore, and I have no idea how I, came up with that little cadence in my head. So just being obedient to the inspiration when it comes and being thankful for it when it comes. That's the best way, I think.
Beautiful. Arien, did anything come up for you there?
I'm still, like he said, I mean, I've only written lyrics to one song. The other two were covers. But what really inspires me is medicine songs, like songs that help people through darkness or something real chant like that they can sing, to it's almost like entering a trance state, like when you repetitively say certain words over and over again, and they're healing mantras and healing words, and um, that's the kind of music that I would like to make, and just still figuring out the process. And it's not easy. Like my hats off to any musician who writes lyrics, especially making their own music to go with it, because it's not an easy process. But
Mm.
yeah.
Well, we she's got some cool stuff that we've just started. We've got a lot of songs that we started, and if we can find the right key and the right tempo and the right way to sing them, because we're inspired by totally different things, and the songs that I write to are usually the tempo it's more laid back and more like I won't say darker, but it's usually like in a minor key. And I think she's writing in a usually writing in a major key. Like the songs are the more, brighter, more expressive. And so trying to find ways to bring those two together to
Mm.
start a song and find the keys and those kind of things. But we're still exploring that as well. It's a little bit harder. It's a new area.
Wow.
A bit more of the producer in too.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I remember. I just want to share this real quick. Was I woke up one day, it was about a year ago, and I put on Sunrise from the recent EP.
Nice.
Like I literally was on my knees weeping, brother. That song, I mean the whole all of your songs, but that album, I feel like for me, just those four songs on the album are all bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Dude.
Sunrise, I remember waking up and I literally felt like so I felt so healed, and it's the song that triggered it. And I just like but I just like it was amazing. And then I made an Instagram post. I'll send it to you. And it was like your lyrics in the song, and it was a picture of me, and I just felt like renewed. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like thank you for the sunrise. Like thank you for like this light, this thank you, Christ, for always like being there for me and shining when
Mm.
and out of the blue sometimes, right? Like we don't know, just a regular day, and sometimes you just really feel that grace.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I just wanted to let you know
Yeah,
that.
send it to me, man. Heck yeah. We love getting testimonies from people, and being inspired and people who know the lyrics and stuff like that. Like I don't get a lot like, it's few and far between. There's a lot of people who listen, but you know, it's something when I've told her of like meeting people who can like recite your lyrics back to you and stuff, and then like that's so cool. I've only, been in a few rooms with people or concerts that people have like they know the lyrics and stuff, but it's a super cool experience to
Yeah,
know,
I
to
thought
know that,
about.
people are like deeply moved by your work. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And like they get it.
yeah. Well, it's a certain being, right? Like a certain being of consciousness that will resonate with what you both put out. So I mean, I too, like I don't know if you've listened to any of the Moonas Magicka tracks, but I just started, like I used to write hip hop music, and I also play guitar and I sing, and but I recently, like I just dropped a song called Master Key, and it's got like Neville Goddard teachings in it, and like it's just yeah, it's like it's a high vibe. It's like it's a certain spectrum of consciousness that only some will will actually be like ready for, in a sense, right? And but yeah, I've been writing some music too recently. So
Yeah,
actually
I'll
it's
have to
on
check it out. I don't know if I have yet, but I definitely want to.
dope. Yeah, there's a brother Trev Mental, him in Congo just did a few tracks, and
Yep.
Trev invited me on this track, the one cipher. There's a cipher in his new
Okay,
album.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think did you send that to me? You sent it to me, right?
I maybe
Maybe. See, like somebody sent me a compilation that they were on with Congo and Trev. And I can't remember
oh,
if it was you or not. I get so many people hitting me up.
oh okay.
I don't know if it was you or not, but somebody sent me a song that they were on with Trev and Congo. And
Okay.
actually, Trev reached out to me recently too to get on a song. So he got my DMs, and somebody else told me. I forgot who it was. Somebody, I think it was Aura the Prophet or somebody. I'm not
Oh,
sure. but he hit me up and was like, "Hey man, Trev really digs your work and would wants to do a song." And I was like, "Let's make it happen." So he got in my DMs and he sent me, a message and asked me if I would. I told him yeah. So waiting on the track. So yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, we're going to a concert soon called Shilla Jam, and we're all gonna be there. Congo's gonna be there, Trev's gonna be there, I'm gonna be there, and yeah, there's a bunch of us going that are in the conscious hip hop realm. So
Where's it at?
it's in PA. It's yeah, July 16th to 19th in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Nice.
Chilla Jam, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Congo's the man. If I could say anybody's name as much as I can, it's Illuminati Congo, man.
Mm,
We listen to his music so much. He's uh, just a beautiful person. His work ethic, his creativity, like just a real genuine stand-up dude. We love Congo so much.
truly. I do too.
I would send him a song and like he'd have it either done the same day or the next day. And it was always like to me a superb verse. Like and he just it just flows out of him, man. It's so we love listening to his music and I would say I don't listen to a lot of different music. I feel like I listen to the same stuff over and over at this point. Like I have my favorite stuff that I listen to, and Congo's one of them.
Mm,
Congo, there's a lot of people who are really dope, who are even in the conscious community or whatever, that are really good. But I don't know what it is, something about Congo being an OG and just his lyrics and the subjects that he uh, talks about, man. All of his new stuff is amazing. Like all of it, stuff about death and the stuff about Christ and all, like it's just amazing. His work is superb.
truly. Truly. Yeah, big
Like
love.
to give my flowers when I can to him for sure.
Yeah, yeah, Congo's amazing. Absolutely beyond words. I agree. Um, I want to ask a question of what do you both, maybe Arien, you could start. When I say the statement, you cannot serve two masters, what does that mean?
Ooh. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the church training, right? You can't serve God and money. That's the
Hmm,
first thing that pops in my mind when I hear that. But I don't know. It just makes me think a lot about the saints, and because we study the saints a lot and how they only served God, and they didn't even serve themselves. Like they abandoned everything of this life and this world to the point where some of them were levitating and being caught up in trances and visions. And one of my favorites is Hildegard, Saint Hildegard, and she has all this amazing, I mean, from artwork of her visions to plant medicines, crystal medicine. um, I think it means that we are able to be a channel for a lot of different things, maybe even more than two, but to just allow yourself to be a channel for the one, the all in all, the I am, like the saints did. And so much beauty can come forth that can help in this realm, but that can also allow you to kind of escape and go to heavenly places, even while we're
Hmm.
still here on earth.
wow, beautiful.
Yeah, I think the God and money thing comes up. I think it's usually the context of that scripture. You can't serve God and money, or you can't serve mammon or two masters, right? Um, with money and being in this capitalistic system, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So we look at money as an object of energy, right? And there's different ways that we can give and exchange energy, and in this system that we live in, money's one of them. Um, but it's very tempting and it's very hard especially when you're doing like your music and things full time, or you're a creator or an influencer full time. It's like you do these things because it generates money. And there's a certain aspect of it, it has to. Like there's certain subjects or maybe tricks that we have to like put out with the name of a podcast or something like that, that we know people are gonna click,
Mhm.
um, to so that we can generate money so that we can keep the lights on and keep doing what we're called to do, right? I don't really like that. Um, so because what happens is it like it gets in the way of what you want to do versus what you have to do. But I think that they meet in the middle somewhere. I do think that there is a narrow path where the two meet in the in the middle, where you can you know that this is the way this works, and you know that this is what's going to generate clicks or get you in front of people. But once you get that, you get in front of people to kind of pull that switcheroo where like the money isn't the motivation. You still keep the spirit behind why you're writing music, why you're trying to teach people, why you're trying to help people, um, or why you're just sharing what helps and what works for you, and it just so happens that it works for other people and it resonates. So I think keeping that integrity is a huge part of it, because there's all of these things that I try to look back at my life and see, what is the why? Why are you creating a podcast? Are you doing it because you have to do it, or are you doing it because you get to do it?
Mhm.
And so I think all of that comes to being single-minded and uh, prostration of the heart, of not um, letting the influence change who you are and why you do what you do, and just keep remembering why you got started, because that's what motivates you. It does shift and it does change and it does evolve over the years, and it's supposed to. Your goals change once you accomplish your dreams and you accomplish your goals. Then you have to set new goals and new goalposts in front of you that you're aiming for. But I think that not serving two masters is really, remaining true to who you are, and knowing what you do and why you do it. It's like if you can protect that, because there's so many things that want to take it from you. There's so many people that want to take it from you, and whether it's money, whether it's fame, um, you know, holding yourself accountable is a really big deal. Some people can start a lot of this stuff. You can start a podcast, you can start music, you can start out on a relationship, a marriage, or you can start this, but can you maintain it?
Mm.
Because when all these other things come in, these other influences come in, can you maintain the integrity that it takes to, that life force of why you started? And we see so many people get corrupted, and we're all susceptible to be corrupted on in all of those things that I mentioned. But my goal and my dream is to be able to keep that energy and that essence. So when it's, you know, you have to you have to be doing these reviews, man. You have to be, in a sense, a little bit narcissistic. You got to be checking in with yourself. Like, what am I doing? You have to be like reviewing your why. You got to be like, make sure that I'm still, the person that I want to be. And and like just check in with yourself. Um, because there's so many different interests out there, and reasons, and I think that the key word is integrity with all that.
It's interesting too, like a lot of our Bible studies that we've done, the two masters, often like in the Bible, when someone is approached by a God, um, they're often approached by another God or another,
Hmm.
ruler. And they have to choose. Like you can't do both. So almost every time when someone in the Bible admired people like Abraham and Moses, these people are approached with a proposition
Yeah.
from a higher power. They're also approached by another higher power. So they've
Hmm.
always, there's always been that duality within us and, you know, the world
Yeah.
and the heavenly kingdom. And even in the scripture, when they're approached by one, they're always approached by the other, and they have to weigh the consequences and see, like, what is your payment that you require?
Yeah.
Is it my service or is it someone's blood?
Mm.
Hmm.
Um, it's duality is such a common thing in every strain, and we just have to, salute and appreciate both sides of the coin, but to choose, I think that, like you said, to choose positivity
Yeah.
and love and light and to feed into those
Yep.
things always.
And that's a conscious decision that obviously you're making because you know the other exists, you know? That's
Yeah.
a big part. We get accused of that a lot, but we know how dark it gets and we teach on dark stuff. We speak about dark things, but like if we get to choose, like I want to talk about positivity. And the reason we talk about so much of it is because we know the contrast of how dark and how deep the rabbit hole goes into the darkness. It's not that we're oblivious to it. We know that we are conduits of love and light that people need and that we need. You know what I'm saying? So the things that we're entertaining, the things that we're studying, the things that we're sharing on Facebook or putting into our music, like all of that stuff matters. You know what I'm saying? So if we do talk about anything dark or whatever, and we do talk about those things, we try to make sure it has a resolve. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't want to point out a problem without a solution. Never would want to punch down or to mock or to make fun. That kind of energy that's put out there that really gets you clicks on the internet.
Totally.
And so that's an energy that you're putting out to make money, to
Mm-hmm.
get fame and to get in front of people. And I talk about this a lot to our community, but I've rubbed shoulders with so many up and coming uh, YouTube ministers while they were small and YouTube channels that now have millions and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they didn't get it by creating something and bringing something beautiful to the table. They may have started that way, but they find out that like doing critique videos and exposing and pointing out other people's flaws and taking a hard stance on something or against something really skyrockets you up this social media ladder. But again, when it comes to like how did you get your platform? How did you get your money? How did you get those followers? You got them by attacking, you got them by putting out negative energy, spewing garbage, pointing out everybody's flaws. We know these flaws are out there. Like I said, I know my flaws. I know that so like you don't have to tell me. I already know the flaws. I tell myself the enemy, the voices tell me these flaws, right? So and I know how that makes me feel. Like why would I want to put that on somebody else and you know what I'm saying? So we want to be these beacons of light, man, and generate creativity, beauty, wealth, money to say that we don't have to point to where we got it from being some type of, we had to kill people or hurt people to get here. And I think that's integrity and that's the thing when I say anybody can start it, but what can keep you, that's going to be the only energy I believe that truly keeps you in the end, because that's where the only piece, because you got to pay all that stuff back. That stuff
Absolutely.
ain't free. When you hurt people and you take from people like that and you lie and you manipulate and you think nobody sees you and man, you got to give all that back. You have to pay all that back. I believe that's the way I live my life, and it helps me to try to continue to create something that didn't exist, create some beauty in this world, in the music, the art, the podcast, anything that we're doing. This, you know.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I resonate with all that. Yeah, a few things come up, me being the host here, I'm also learning how to direct and move the energy and one of the like I guess I want to go into the topic of how love heals everything. And I want to bring up Dr. Joe Dispenza, I've actually been doing his meditations daily because I was watching um, the testimonials, and every single person that healed from stage 4 cancer, lupus, ALS, all of it, they sat down and meditated every single day. There is not a testimonial. It is 100% of the time. I've watched hundreds. Every single person sat down and let love heal them. And
Hmm.
this comes into all just coming from you can't serve two masters into this this realm of, well, okay, yeah, like if we're serving God, then we're serving only love. And so allowing ourselves to be healed and surrendering to the love, which Dr. Joe says in his meditations, like love heals all. And at the end of the day, no matter how much like quantum physics or how much we've studied or the theory, like at the end of the day, these beings are surrendering in these meditations. So what is happening? Like, and I want to talk to you both about this spontaneous healing, the fact and reality of spontaneous healings. And to me, that is that is a being, a human surrendering to the full infinite potential of love that can heal us instantly. Have you both seen, or do you know anyone, or have you had an experience of this, like love being the ultimate healer?
Yeah, I think you know, you grow in your revelation of what love is, what perfect love is, you know. Um, love, we understand like love and light and positivity and God's love and beauty and those things, but you grow in in what that means. Um, so it's eternal, and these bodies aren't. You know what I'm saying? These bodies are not eternal. Um, and finding ways to be an expression of that love, to be a conduit of that love is I think what we've been talking about. But there are different techniques, different situations, different retreats and things, and different moments where you're able to surrender a part of your darkness, a part of your pain, a part of your ego that is symbolized as blackness, thick darkness, and it's a cancer, if you will, within the body, within the psyche. And I think that there's meditations and all of these things that we can do to surrender to that love and really embody it, visualize it, and allow it to flood in and permeate our darkness. And we host retreats that do this. We have meditations that we create that are designed specifically to do this. And like you said, the testimonials that even Joe Dispenzas are getting, like we get similar like uh testimonies from people, not more about healing physically, but a lot of spiritual healing, a lot of like something shifted in me, like so I'm not the same. Like I'm in tears and I'm crying. My body is vibrating after listening or after breathing this way, right? So we know that something's changing, something's shifting. There's a pivotal something is happening in that moment. These divine moments that happen, and the testimonies that we get from the work that we do are simply amazing. Um, but I think what that love is bigger too, because like we know the duality of that, and we know people who aren't healed from stage 4 cancer, and they return to the essence, if you will, right?
Mm,
They go back to the creator, and this body goes back to the dust that gave it, right? And it becomes one with the elements, and that's love too.
mm,
Like there's an essence of love that we've been taught to call evil, death and decay, and to get and to feed the earth. The Bible says that like we're here to replenish the earth. Like if we're pulling from the earth's precious resources and the earth's energy, and the earth is sustaining us and giving us all of this beautiful stuff, and we don't give back, in the end, we give our bodies back. We give our bodies back to the earth to become one with it, and all of the gold and the precious metals that are within us, like it's going back into the earth to replenish it, to become fertilizer, to become one, the physical body, the soul, and our essence becoming one with the plant life and the breath and the wind. That's love too. That we're borrowing this vehicle in this body, and we're creating something to have this experience, but also to give it back. And and there's many different places we can go with different theologies that come that's very selfish of like I don't want to give back, or I want to put my body in a box so that in a metal box or something that I it doesn't become one with nature. I don't want to, give it back. And there's a different energy and a different idea of love, I think, that we're learning, that love is is symbiotic with all life. And find ourselves asking questions again when the people who don't get healed of cancer,
Mm,
or people who are sick, or people who lose a limb or something, does God still love me?
mm,
Did I do it wrong? Did I do Joe Dispenza's meditation wrong because I didn't get healed? Did I pray wrong? Am I cursed? All of these things kind of come up to like try to rob you of that light and rob you of that joy and make you question. So I think that this idea of perfect love existing in the midst of these questions, to know that God is love, and finding ways for us to embody love and dig as deep as we can to find something beautiful or find love in that situation. That is not always easy by any means. We have 100% seen miraculous healings for sure.
Yeah.
1,000%. We believe in them. We champion them. We love them. We want people to experience that, but we also got to hold space for those who don't, because it's a lot of people who don't too, that we know. You know what I'm saying? And maybe us. But these questions that we've been, the type of Christianity that we come from, man, is very charismatic and very like, if you didn't get healed, you did something wrong. Or like at a funeral, they always say, like with cancer or any type of disease or ailment, that the enemy won. I guess the devil won that battle.
wow.
I'm like, hell nah, we're not saying that no more. The devil didn't. The devil is a loser. The devil's not a winner. You're talking about the devil won the battle. The devil is defeated, the Bible says. The enemy is defeated. So just because somebody died don't mean they lost. At this point, like, I'm like, maybe they graduated. Maybe staying here as long as you can and loving your life to death, like, and trying to do everything you can to stay here. Maybe that's losing. Maybe you're missing out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know anymore. But I find God and I find beauty and I find love in the unknown, and to lean into those things that are beautiful. And at this point, which again, there's so many things that has helped to see death as something beautiful as well. And that's new for me. You know what I'm saying? And seeing somebody who's not healed, as something beautiful and as loving. And Christ did it. Christ like spent time with those people who were in need and who were lepers, and like, if you touch these people, you'll be unclean. These lepers in the scriptures, and Christ like found that out. He's like, that's the people I want to love.
Mm,
That's the people out. And what if it is love that heals them? And I think he knew that. And I think that even if they don't have like an outer, physical manifestation of like, okay, my wrist was broken and now it's healed or something, like what it does within you, the healing and the beauty by letting love penetrate that darkness is why we do this.
Well, I mean, Christ is love, and look what he went through. His body was completely broken to the point of being unrecognizable. But then he, you know, was able to ascend and create eternal life, not only for himself, but for everyone. He
Mhm.
gave everyone access, especially the ones who, like you said, they tried to keep out, the lepers, the unwanted, the, adulterers and
Yeah.
tax collectors, all the ones that were just thrown out as trash or looked down on or hated. He made a way for everyone. And just talking about love and the healing power of love, like I've experienced it in the last 2 years, just dealing with inflammation in my body, asthma, breathing disorders. And I think a lot of it I found out through an encounter with Christ stemmed from grief and depression, a lack of love for myself that I was just holding in my body, because these bodies are amazing. Like, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, truly. This is the temple God. God dwells here. Love dwells here. But on the flip side, there's so much out there that is the opposite of love, that is evil, that is hatred, that is greed. And so these two dualities, these two forces are, battling each other. And I think a lot of the cancers and the sicknesses and things that we have in society today come from a lack of love. It comes from environmental factors, it comes from greedy companies, it comes from people being unawares. Like we get lulled
Yeah.
into these, online spaces and TikTok, and we're lulled to sleep where we're not even aware of our physical body and the sensations that we feel and the things we put in. And um so love, divine love, is truly healing and transformational, but we have so much that is not love that we put in our bodies and that we experience that these bodies are trying to protect us from. And that's what cancer is. I mean, that's why you see it like a tight, congealed
Yeah.
ball around it every time. That's why they
Yeah.
have to, like, why they punch through that to try to
Yeah.
biopsy it. Like, it's your body trying to conceal and protect you from it.
Yeah.
Like, but true love, when true love comes in, unlocks all of these things that need to be flowing again. The divine energy is able to flow to you and through you and not be stagnant. Then you do see physical transformation in the body.
Mm-hmm.
You do see that coming from a spiritual place, because the spiritual and physical bodies are much more connected than I think we realize. In traumas that we hold, our body
Yeah.
buries so deep, and sometimes it does manifest as a disease
Yeah.
or emotion or dysfunction.
Yeah. We just got back from a retreat. We held a retreat in Mount Shasta, and it
Oh,
was freaking amazing. We just got back, and so we one of our what you call it, students, or one of the people who came was a part of our community. Um, she went to the retreat, experienced tremendous healing, and then we jumped on the Zoom call um, Thursday, and she looked like a different person.
wow.
Like the countenance of her face changed. You can see depression, you can see sadness, you can see all that on her face. Like we wear this stuff. We're not good at covering this stuff up. Um, but she was bright, just the way she looked like a different person. Like all over the Zoom call, I was like, "Oh my, you're shining," and it's like, you know, of after coming to one of these retreats and working with plant medicine and just being able to facilitate that for people is amazing. And it's about them having an encounter with love. You know what I'm saying? And it is real, and it is, and you do see results, like somebody somebody's countenance changing, their face totally changing and shining again, and that's so amazing.
Wow. Thank you for answering so intricately. Um,
Sorry if I complicated it a little bit, but that's kind
no,
of where
no,
we
no,
are, man. You're not
that's
going to get any clear answers from us.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
yeah, one of my questions was like, how do we heal ourselves in all aspects of our being? It's all related. Yeah, I mean, usually I go for maybe we could go for another little like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Maybe I can invoke another question here.
Sure
Uh,
thing. We'll try to answer them more simple, but there are no simple answers. There's no
yeah.
simple questions either, right?
Wow, yeah, it looks like I've kind of brought up what I've written down prior in meditation. One thing is I actually resonate with you both really deeply. Like I would be interested in maybe coming to one of these retreats in the future. And that's really cool. How is it Mount Shasta? I'm a student of the I Am discourses, Ascended Master Saint Germain, and the teachings of Christ are in here. But I like the whole like like how the I Am discourses came, and I actually am uh so into these teachings that I literally practice them like all day every day. And that's how also I'm into Neville Goddard's teaching, because they're the similarities. And one thing I want to say to reflect that is I know a fellow, his name's RJ Spina, and he's been basically, he has a voice now in the community, the YouTube community. He wrote a book called Access Super Consciousness. And anyways, RJ's story is, it's a spontaneous healing. He was chest down paralysis. Um, the doctors told him he had a day to live, and he basically woke up from emergency surgery in like a super conscious state and remembered how we heal ourselves
Mm.
through, he calls it the ascend the frequencies healing technique. And I bring up RJ because I resonate with him, and it's in resonance with our conversation of how healing, like I listen to RJ a lot, and he says when we talk about healing, we always just assume like physical healing, like it's something that we just like, oh, like physical, but our being is so much more than the physical. Like this is the manifestation of the kind of the last frequency to
Mhm.
have us like in this holographic experience. But RJ's saying like, which is similar to Dr. Joe and all probably what you both teach as well, and what I teach as well, is because there's kind of only one teaching, right? It's like, in a sense, like return back to the I am, and then you can start to, like, knowing that you are the I am. From that place, like you can actually command your body of energy to like do what you as the I am are telling it. Like, and that's kind of like, that's what we can do as co-creators and conscious creators of our reality is and basically from that higher frequency, like we ascend up into the I am, which is also just being as we are, and then we can kind of decree, or using like the word I am, and that's what all the discourses are about. It's about decreeing and claiming the truth of our being, the
Mhm.
health of our being, the abundance of our being, that is actually what we are. So, in a sense, identifying with anything but that would be like, it's false. It's not, it's so when are we going to stop serving two masters and then only serve like positivity? You know what I mean? Like there comes a time when like all the teachers that I followed are like, you gotta like turn your attention completely away from the ego and put all of your attention on the I am. And every time a thought rises, come back. Like in Ramana Maharshi, a beloved teacher of mine, I first learned self-inquiry a decade ago. And Ramana's teachings are, who am I? Like, to whom is this thought rising? And keep coming back. And you literally like, and that is claiming your oneness with the Christ. And that's where this divine, like in the I am discourses, they'll say like the mighty energy, like where we can live in this constant state of invoking and calling forth the energy of the Christ, the divine energy, to like what I do on a daily basis, and not daily, but hourly and minutely and secondly, is I call forth the presence of God, and I ask it for help because I don't know what else to do. Like I literally have come to this point where I'm like, I don't know. Like I call you forth. And even like I've been dealing with an intestinal issue. And as I've been learning about like parasites and how that's a whole different realm. But anyways, my intestinal dilemma is still present as we speak, and it's something I'm like persistent on healing. And also that topic of like determination. And I also love what you say about like how death is not a loss. I love that. And
Yeah.
we're so, because the like we're so afraid of death, but what if death from that higher consciousness perspective is the graduation. And I
Right.
actually agree with that. I actually feel that that is true. Is like we as a human species forget the context of reality a lot, that there is like a whole, like we are souls, we are not the body, right? And so when we live in that context of being a soul, we we just understand life deeper, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why else does all the good people die young? Like all the awesome people die, and it's like the evil, corrupt folks live to be super old, you know? Like anytime we see a good person or somebody we look up to or something, they die, man. It's just, but I think that their work is no longer needed. I think that they in that form anyway, and they graduate to be able to teach more. I mean, Christ taught it that way, and I think we can look at life, death, and the afterlife in the way in the teachings of Christ, who said, "Listen, it's better that I go."
Mm.
I don't think that's just for Jesus. I don't think that was just for him. I think that because he wasn't the only one to say it. Like his disciples said it after, like towards the end of their lives. Like Peter and Paul both like repeated almost everything Jesus said. Like, hey, when I go, like I'm still gonna be communing with you. I'm gonna be getting your attention. This is how you invoke me. This is how you remember me. All of these things, and they were looking at it like it's a good thing. It's better that I go because when I go, the Father will send you the Comforter, which is essentially the Spirit of Christ that is multiplied, that can reach, talk, walk with, commune with us on an individual basis, the entirety of the planet. You know what I'm saying? Like we can all talk to him and he's listening. Like the people that we look up to, our grandparents or whoever it is that's not here, any of the people that you have their picture, you know, or you read their books or whatever, you can talk to them and they can still hear you and they can hear me at the same time. Like, and they can talk to us both. Their essence is they've become one with the essence, with the all, with the I am. And it's individual. And to learn that and to experience that when awakening happens of like it really emphasizes for me the words of Christ and these guys who are talking about there is no more death. There never was. It's the illusion of death. And you think that a thing is dead, and so therefore you may forget about it. And you don't talk to them like they can hear you. You don't live your life like they're still watching and still wanting to conversate. And if you shift your focus and your attention that way, they shift their focus and attention back to you and they commune with you and they leave you signs, and we're learning to live beyond the veil. And we're relearning this. The ancient Egyptians knew this. The elite know this. That's why the faces of their people they look up to are printed on the money. They have statues of these people. There's invocations. There's all of these things everywhere to the people that they look up to. It just so happens to be that I believe that most of the people they look up to are evil murderers, but they are remembered, and their energy and their essence is still evoked. And if we know that that's the way it works, because it does, we can do that for the positive and for the righteous people that we want to be speaking and leading and teaching us on this path, as you're doing with Yogananda imagery behind you. It looks like, is that a dog behind you as well? You
Uh,
know, like
yeah.
all of these, is that a dog? It's
Well,
kind of hard to see.
I'm actually in an attic right now because I'm moving to British Columbia in Canada because I'm from Toronto, but I got kicked out of my Airbnb I was staying because I I refused to like be committed to Toronto anymore. So anyways, I don't know whose dog that is, but it is a dog.
Well, he's a good dog. He's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
cute little dog. It's like a
yeah,
Frenchie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Uh.
yeah.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's those little subtle ways when you say like, we can evoke Christ, or we can ask God. Now, I like to take the can out of it
Mm,
because it almost seems like this magical thing that we can do, and look at it the magic a lot closer that we already are. Like we already are invoking and summoning and all of these things, whether we know it or not. And I think that the evil, we'll call it the elite. They know this, and so they put all of these evil things in front of us, and we're worshiping that which we know not. We're serving two masters because we're doing one thing and saying another, or saying one thing and doing another, and we're expecting different results and outcomes, and we're not getting them. Everything is magical. You know what I'm saying? So even as far as painting a picture or printing a picture and putting that in a frame and having it in your workspace or around you or in your wallet, like that evokes memory, feeling, and emotion. That's real. Feeling, energy, emotion. Like you can't see it right here, but I have a big image of Christ behind me, and or
I've
at least
seen
a
that one.
depiction of Christ and on the candles and things like that.
Mm.
All of that's like so powerful because it invokes feelings and emotions within us, and most of us good. You know what I'm saying? When you see this imagery or
Mm.
this picture of your loved one, and the moment you do that, the ancient Egyptians said the moment you do that, the moment you remember them, they're no longer dead. So if we can hold their memory and hold that space, and even on a collective, uh, as a collective, it just intensifies it that much more. So everything we're doing is spiritual. Everything we're doing has in the physical realm has spiritual implications, and I think you know that, and especially if you listen to the music, yeah, that's a big part of the music. Just tying the two together, the physical rituals and things that we do um, are tied into some type of uh, spiritual application as well. It's the mind, will, and the emotions and our attention is what all that is have a an impact on the world that is unseen.
Mm. One last question it's come up for the past hour that I haven't asked yet is, do you think you both have chosen each other prior to incarnating and have kind of have chosen, does it feel that way for you, Arien, and you, Truth? Like, does it feel like you guys have kind of the life plan idea? Do you guys resonate with that? How like you maybe chose each other prior, meeting so young and like being so committed and devoted to marriage?
I think so. Were you gonna wait on my answers to see how you answer?
I was gonna make a joke,
Go
but
ahead, make the joke.
no, I was
You've been chasing me?
no, I was just
I'm
gonna
running
say no.
from you?
I think it was just, we went to the same high school. It was an
Ah,
accident.
No.
But no, we always make
secret.
jokes about it. Like, you see the little memes on social media, like this is us in another life, and it's like two snails or two flowers or two toads. Like I don't know exactly where we were before, but it's one of those things like I wasn't even spiritual when we met,
Mm,
or I didn't think I was. But when I saw him for the first time, like everything shifted for me. Like something shifted, and it was like, oh, that's somebody I know, or somebody who's going to be in my life. Like it was this pull, like a
Yeah.
magnetic pull. Um,
Yeah, we both knew it before we knew each other.
yeah.
We saw each other for the first time and tried to act like I didn't see her or try to be cool or something. Like we both knew it. It was definitely overwhelming connection and resonance. It was meant to be. I believe in that. And
Mm.
I catch myself. We like to, talking about marriage and stuff. I say this. I don't know if I can. I want to be careful how I say it though, because I always say people talk about dating and finding the significant other and those things, and who's the one for me. And I say, don't find the person that you can live with. Find the person that you can't live without.
mm,
Um, I feel like you know, that's not everybody's story. That's our story though. That's our story.
Well, and a lot of people get tricked into thinking that's not their story, but the moment they divorce and
mm,
see their ex with somebody else, they
yeah.
realize they really don't want to live without them, like
Yeah.
it's a narrative that's being sold, like you were saying earlier, on to the next one.
Yeah.
This
No.
relationship's broken, give me a better one.
Yeah.
But and in our relationship, we've been together since, like he said, he was 14. I mean, we've been through so much together, and not all of it was beautiful.
Mm.
It's all now a beautiful part of the, weaving into our story. But yeah, I
Did you ever feel like giving up on each other at any point? Like just walking away? Was there any moments where it was like really feeling close, like you wanted to, or was there always an underlying like no matter what happens, I'm gonna stay, like I'm staying. It's not even a question.
We had one time where I tried to, like early on, um, coming out of witchcraft and getting into the church and stuff like that. I was super impressionable, and I didn't know dealing with energy. Um, I I thought that I could, but I tried to be with somebody else, just like dating and trying to see my life with them. We didn't even look right in pictures together. It just I knew that it was stupid to even try, but I tried, and so there's no like second guessing or whatever now of like the one who got away or any of that kind of thing. Like I didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Um, of even I couldn't do it if I wanted to is what I'm saying.
Mm.
So knowing that energy, knowing how special that is, protect it, you know?
and
Yeah.
for me, like that's the only time that comes to mind when I thought it was close. And this is after, after having a spiritual encounter with Christ and God, and I felt like God had told me that he was the one I was supposed to marry, which I kind of always knew it, but to hear it from God was just like a confirmation. And then things go haywire, and it's like, well, God, like you promised me, you told me this was my path. And so I spent what felt like a really long time just weeping and calling out to God and saying like, why did you tell me this was my promise, and this is not looking good how it's walking out. And it was kind of like a lot of things in my life finally when I just threw my hands up and surrendered and said, okay, God, like if this is it, this is it. I'm just going to move on with my life with you. And it wasn't until that point that we reconciled after that. But it
It
it got
wasn't
to
long.
the point where I did kind of throw my hands up and say like,
Mm.
if it's meant to be, then it's in your hands, God.
Yeah, and that was in 2000.
Mm.
It was 2000,
Wow.
and I think it was maybe 2 weeks or something. I don't even know how long it was.
That's
Like I
why I
said, it
said
felt like
it felt like an
felt like just
eternity.
because
Yeah.
it was a big
Yeah.
deal. It was a big deal, like for sure.
Totally.
So every moment felt like a lifetime. It probably wasn't even 2 weeks. It was
It
very
was definitely longer
short-lived.
than 2 weeks,
It
but
was it was very short-lived.
it wasn't a super long time.
Yeah.
That I have a similar like with Jade when it was that knowingness that we're gonna move forward in life together, and she came to me out of the blue and was like, it's not gonna work. And I literally like put my hands together and said, okay, pack my stuff, left. And that time away from her was so painful. And honestly, what I'm recognizing is like yeah, I need her, and it's not like not spiritual to need her like as my feminine half, right? Like it's
Yeah.
and that's but it's just me getting over that, like, oh, I don't need anybody. I'm desireless. I'm living in the I am. Like I don't, but it's
Yeah.
not true. Like I'm here on earth. Like I
Yeah.
love I love
There's
her.
rules and laws and
And we take it for granted. And it's crazy what we can take for granted when we start to merge with each other and we become one, It's like then we're just one.
yeah.
And there's no longer that two-ness or that other in the relationship. And yeah, it's just really wild, but that was a really painful month. And I ran back for her. And it was something that I would have never done before. Like I'd be like, no, I am magnetic. She'll come to me if she wants. No, I literally ran for her in the park and asked her like, what are you doing? Like, that we're meant to be together. you know that this is where like we're supposed to move forward together. And I called her and I was like, you're giving up on us. Like I really felt that and it hurt, you know? And so that finding that balance between being in that state of merging as one and then also realizing like our earthly needs for each other, you know, and like, yeah, it's, and obviously in the natural state and the union, it's flowing and we don't really have to think too much. We're just naturally giving and receiving, just like the Taurus, you know, just
Yeah,
like the Taurus field, it's just giving and receiving.
pull mine out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like, well, we hit the hour and a half. You know, I'm thank you for like holding this space with me. And if it feels good, if there's any last words, any burning desires, and then also where we can find you both, and we can maybe close it off for the day.
For sure. Give me some of your favorite lyrics. Your
Oh
favorite
wow.
TruthSeekah lyrics.
Okay, let
On the
me
spot. It's
let me
like,
just
oh,
let me pick. I'm gonna pick a song off White Magic, and then I'll go for
okay.
it.
Give me a bar or a line or something that stands out to you.
I mean, literally every song, but I want
Right.
to. Uh, let's do. Oh wow,
White magic for the magi.
we light through that third eye, elevate new levels in the sky when you
You know,
let
you know what? You
go
know which one I
die.
like? I like the second verse that I start off with on that one. Oh, which name Miss Blavatsky? Who spoke of rainbow body? Illuminati,
Illuminate the night,
the Illuminati. No, 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 Anunnaki, Elohim.
Elohim can
I like,
fly
I like,
by
I like
me,
that.
bright beings who shine brightly. Their
Yeah,
seraphim can be seen nightly,
yeah,
diving
yeah,
deep into your psyche.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a fun one. Mm-hmm.
it's all. I mean, bro, it's all of the highest to me.
For sure, for
So
sure.
I thank the Most High for gathering us and for connecting us. And who knows how we'll move forward all together in our journey through eternity. And yeah, where can we find you? Where can the Moonas Magicka listeners find you, find your music, um, find your offerings together, separate, whatever you guys want to share to connect community?
So we have our podcast, and pretty much everything is linked to truthseekah.com.
Mm.
We also have our community site, which is seer.school. And we meet twice a week on Zoom with our community. We just kind of sit and talk about whatever. Sometimes it's more organized, mostly on Sundays. We would do more meditative or teaching type. And then Thursday night's more of a hangout type of Zoom call where we can talk together about, anything and everything. And there's no judgment, and it's a safe space. And we usually have a really fun time, talking about things and exploring ideas. But that's at seer.school.
You can get a free meditation there. Like
Yeah.
so we do guided meditations, but they're like we hire voice actors and stuff to come and
Wow.
play different characters and things, and
Wow.
it's been really really fun. It's like next level immersive. It's one thing to say there's a, you're close your eyes and there's a little man walks up to you and the man says, "How are you doing?" I literally when I say that if there's a little man, you'll hear, "Hello," how, like there's a person's talking to you in the meditation. It's so cool, man.
It's
It's
next level.
it's immersive, man. So it's for free. You can get it for free. The throne room meditation. It takes you on an ancient tour of the tabernacle and into the tabernacle of Moses, and you're seeing the depictions and stuff there. And then you go into the throne room of God and meet angels, and it is next level. So we give that away for free at our website, seer.school. So definitely go check that out. It's
I'm
a
gonna
quick
tap in.
15
Definitely
minute
gonna tap
experience.
in.
And then if
Wow.
anyone is interested in coming to a retreat like we talked about, we have our next one planned, and it's going to be October 2nd through the 5th in Anderson, South Carolina. And the people who are hosting us are just such precious individuals. Kind of the theme we're going with is reclaiming Eden, which would be like going back to our roots and communing with nature and each other and spirit, in spirit and in truth in the way that we were created to be. There'll be sound baths, sound healing, concert,
Cacao ceremony,
teachings. It's just going to be a beautiful time. So if
stargazing.
you're interested in those kinds of things, we were able to, thankfully, because of the host being so gracious, have a much more affordable price than our last retreat. So we can have more people come and stuff like that. Um, that's also at See or Die School if you want to get tickets to that and more
Hmm.
information.
Yep. Be cool to see you guys there for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to come, honestly. Um, yeah, I'm moving into a new home in British Columbia, so I'm gonna settle there and get into the mountains and the ocean. I've been living in the city of Toronto for my whole life, and I'm finished with the city life, and I wanna kind of more settle into nature. So yeah, I do want to say I love you both as my brother and my sister. And yeah, thank you so much for
Thank you, brother. We
accepting my
love you.
invitation. Thank you. Yeah, and I look forward to connecting more, and I'm grateful that our communities can now even join. And yeah, I leave you both in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. And I will be posting this on the Moona's YouTube, and we can, if you guys want the recording or whatever, I can also send that. But yeah, I think that's a good place to end, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right, thanks so much, man. And yeah,
Yeah,
Namaste, brother.
send it to us. We'll share it out.
cool.
All right, brother.
Bye,
Shalom. Many
family.
blessings. Thank you so much.
Peace, peace.